Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Elimination Chamber review. And tonight's Elimination Chamber was from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. And I gotta say, Elimination Chamber tonight, I thought it was a decent show. Although there were some things here that in the pay-per-view that were meh. But all in all, it was a decent show, in my opinion. And the build for the show was not that well. I mean, on the Monday Night Raw side was shit, but SmackDown delivered, a decent build for the pay-per-view. And thankfully, the pay-per-view, thank God, it ended early. It ended at like 10:15. It didn't go over 10:30 to 11 o'clock or longer than that, just like how the Rumble was. But WWE did a good job, in making the pay-per-view short and ended it early. I mean, I know WrestleMania is probably going to be long. Also going to end after probably like towards midnight. So, but WWE, I hope they shorten these pay-per-views because I like it. It ended early. So yeah. So on to the review, and I'm going to start with the match that was on the pre-show. It was Buddy Murphy versus Akira Tozawa for the Cruiserweight Championship. Decent match. A lot of back and forth action between the both of them. Tozawa was very entertaining. Buddy Murphy did a decent job. I like both of these superstars. But Buddy Murphy ended up winning the match. Ended up hitting Murphy's Law to Akira Tozawa to retain the Cruiserweight Championship. So Buddy Murphy retains. Overall, decent match. And then we get to the regular matches, and the pay-per-view kicked off with the Women's Elimination Chamber match for the new WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. So it was the Riott Squad, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan versus the Iconics, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay versus Naomi and Carmella versus Nia Jackson, Tamina versus Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose versus Bayley and Sasha Banks. And the match started off with Sasha Banks and Bayley and Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, which this whole women's Elimination Chamber match, it was decent. I liked it. I have to say it was longer than the WWE Championship match in the Elimination Chamber. But you had the Riott Squad end up coming out like first out of their pods. So it was Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan that came out. And then the second woman to come out of their pods was the Iconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. And the match from there, it was entertaining with these girls. There was at one point where they did a suplex from the top, and then it was Naomi and Carmella that came out of their pods, and it looked like Nia Jax and Tamina really wanted to come out of their pods because Nia Jax was banging on the shield glass. And so Nia Jax and Tamina were the last ones to come out. And it just went from there. When Nia Jax and Tamina came out, that's when the whole match changed. And the Iconics ended up eliminating Naomi and Carmella. Naomi and Carmella were the first ones to get eliminated out of the chamber. Then Nia Jax and Tamina, they ended up eliminating the Iconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. And Then it was Nia Jax and Tamina. They both ended up eliminated. Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, so they were the third to get eliminated. And so then we got in there, the way how Nia Jax and Tamina ended up getting eliminated was you had Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Bayley, and Sasha. They end up holding them down. And so that's how Nia Jax and Tamina got eliminated. And then it was down to Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose and Sasha and Bayley. And right from there, you could possibly tell who was going to win the match. So you had at one point where Bayley went into like the center of the pod, and she was taken out. And then you had Sasha work on Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. There's a point where Sonya Deville was going to spear Sasha, but Sasha got out of the way, and so Sonya ended up spearing Mandy Rose. And then it led to Sasha Banks locking in the bank statement on Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville ended up tapping out. And so Sasha Banks and Bayley are the first ever women's tag team champions, which was predictable. We all knew that Sasha and Bayley were going to win it. Hell, I even knew it. I even knew going into the match, or way before the match, I knew that WWE was going to make Sasha and Bayley the first ever women's tag team champions. And it really was a good moment. It really was a great moment. Then you had, after the match, they both got interviewed. Both of them were very emotional. Bayley was like, she didn't know what to say. Sasha was crying tears of joy. And so Sasha says, nobody knows how hard they fought for these, and that they don't just do this for themselves, or for the fans, but for the whole women's division. And she was like, this is just the beginning of the changes to come, and they're going to continue to do what they do best, and that is be the WWE, them to be the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. And I know a lot of people aren't happy about this, but I am, because Sasha and Bayley, they both had a horrible 2018 last year, where WWE ended up making us think that we were going to get a Sasha and Bayley feud, but that ended up going out of nowhere. They failed with that, and so this was a good way. I'm really happy for Sasha and Bayley. Then we had, like I said, overall the Women's Elimination Chamber, I liked it. It was decent. Then we had the Usos versus The Miz and Shane McMahon for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Before the match got underway, The Miz ended up coming out. He ended up congratulating Sasha and Bayley on their win. And Maurice, Miz's wife, Maurice ends up coming out. And they say that they have an announcement. And Maurice reveals that her and The Miz are going to be having another baby. And so I did not see that coming. Basically, I thought that they were there maybe to announce when the new season of Miz and Mrs. Premieres, because I know it premieres in April. And I thought that's why that's why I thought that they were out there. But congratulations to the Miz and Maurice having another baby. So I'm really happy to hear that news. And so the match got on the way. Shane McMahon came out, then the Usos, and the match itself, it was okay. Wasn't great or perfect by any means, but You had Shane McMahon doing his coast to coast. I think he did like 2 coast to coast here in this match. One to Jey Uso and one to Jimmy. There was a point in the match where The Miz ended up clearing off the announce table, and he ended up putting Jey Uso on the table. And that led to Shane end up going up to the top, end up delivering the leap of faith to Jey Uso through the announce table. So, and then you had at one point The Miz end up delivering a skull-crushing finale to Jimmy Uso. The Miz ended up going for the pin. Jimmy Uso ended up kicking out of it, and then he ended up rolling up The Miz. And right from there, the Usos win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. So, and I could tell why they won the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It's because the Usos' contracts are coming up, and WWE wants to prevent them from signing with AEW. That's why. That's why WWE put the SmackDown Tag Team Championships on the Usos, so the Usos wouldn't leave, and they would sign their contracts again, so they won't have to sign and go to AEW. It's the whole AEW effect. So, but yeah, there was news about Jimmy Uso during the week where he ended up getting arrested. So, but overall, the match itself, it was okay, but wasn't great or perfect by any means. But really happy for the Usos. Then you had Dasha Fuentes. She ends up interviewing Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush. She ends up asking Lio Rush if he thinks that he is the weakest link heading into the 2-on-1 handicap match against Finn Balor. And so Lio Rush says to her that they have the advantage, and that he and Lashley are on top of the food chain, and that nobody is more dominant than they are. And he says Lashley's the steak, and he is the sizzle. And he's like, Finn can't win. And so that's when the match got underway. Lio Rush made his entrance first, then Bobby Lashley, then you had Finn Balor. And it was a match. Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush. 2-on-1 handicap match for the Intercontinental Championship. If Finn Balor pins either Bobby Lashley or Lio Rush, he would win the Intercontinental Championship. And this match itself, it was decent, very entertaining to me because of Balor. And towards the end of the match, Finn Balor ended up getting the win. Ended up hitting the coup de grace on Lio Rush. So Finn Balor ends up winning the Intercontinental Championship. And finally, WWE has done something right. And that is to put another title on Balor. It's been so long since Balor ended up holding a title. Last title that he held was the Universal Championship, which he did not lose. He had to relinquish. So yeah, but at least I'm happy that they gave Finn something. At least it's good. And I was very happy. I was like after the end of it, I'm like, finally WWE does something right for once. So yeah, so Finn Balor ends up winning. After the match, Bobby Lashley was pissed off, and he ends up slamming Lio Rush. So, and that's basically what happened after the match. So all in all, it was a decent match. Then we had Charlie Caruso. She was in the ring. She was interviewing Charlotte. She ends up asking Charlotte, what did she find? When did she find out that she was going to face Ronda? Did you find out, or did Vince knew it ahead of time? Sorry about that, but I was saying Charlotte was being interviewed by Charlie Caruso. When did Charlotte find out that she was going to face Ronda? Was it from Vince or somebody? And Charlotte ends up telling her, life is good when you're Charlotte Flair. And she's like, she's going to Mania. And she says she decimated the man last night. Because apparently there's footage, if you all saw it, where Becky Lynch ended up coming into the ring. It was during a WWE live event where Becky came in and Charlotte ended up taking out Becky. She ended up re-injuring Becky's leg with the cast on. But there's footage of it. WWE posted it. And Charlotte also says Becky got herself suspended because she just can't let it go. And that she keeps pandering for our attention. And she needs our approval. And Charlotte says her reflection gives her all the love and approval she needs. She goes on to say that she knows in her heart and her soul that she's the best in the WWE. And that's why she's going to main event WrestleMania. Yeah, when we all wanted Ronda and Becky just to go at it. But no, WWE has to stick Charlotte in their spot. Because they want to give Charlotte so much title opportunities. And then we had, Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott. Charlotte got a front row seat outside. So it was Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott for the Raw Women's Championship. And I really enjoyed Ronda's attire tonight. She was Sonya Blaze from Mortal Kombat. Sorry about that, but I was saying Ronda's attire was Sonya Blade in Mortal Kombat, which Ronda is going to portray the voice for Sonya Blade in Mortal Kombat 11, which I'm looking forward to that game because I'm always a fan of the Mortal Kombat games. But really enjoyed her attire. And this match, it was just short. Nothing good happened in this match. It was just Ronda just throwing around Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott jobbing to Ronda. Ronda ended up locking in the armbar on Ruby Riott. Ruby taps. Ronda retains Raw Women's Championship. That was that. Then you had after the match, Charlotte gets in the ring, standing toe-to-toe, exchanging words to Ronda. And then Becky Lynch is shown. She ends up coming through the crowd. She had her crutches after being injured at that live show, at that live event. And so she came down with the crutches. She ended up coming into the ring. And she ends up attacking Charlotte. She ends up attacking Charlotte with one of the crutches. Just, slamming it at Charlotte. And you can tell Becky was pissed. And she beat down Charlotte very badly. And then Becky went and attacked Ronda with one of her crutches. And she ends up beating down Ronda, badly. She ended up making Ronda bleed on the side of her face, like right over here. And Ronda looked pissed. And then Becky ended up getting escorted out by security, which reminds me of how they did this, how WWE has did this with Stone Cold Steve Austin back in the day. So yeah, so that was basically what happened. And then it just went to Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman. And this was a no DQ match. Sorry about that again, but like I was saying, it went after, you know, Becky attacked Charlotte and Ronda. It just went to Baron Corbin and versus Braun Strowman, no disqualification match, because Baron Corbin's music ended up hitting. He ended up coming out. Then Braun Strowman. But this match, we've seen these guys go at it many times before. It wasn't you know that great in my opinion. You had just Corbin just whacking Strowman with the kendo stick at the beginning of the match, beginning points of the match. Strowman ended up cracking and breaking one of the kendo sticks. It was just right from there. Strowman's doing his shoulder tackles to Corbin on the outside. Then you had Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre ended up coming out. McIntyre came out with holding a chair, trying to go and attack Strowman. And then Bobby Lashley comes out of nowhere, and he ends up attacking Strowman. So McIntyre and Lashley end up attacking Strowman with the chairs, because Lashley also had a chair. And so Strowman ends up coming back, ends up striking down Lashley and McIntyre. Then you see Bobby Lashley then spears Braun Strowman, and it's just the three of them trying to beat down on Strowman. So they end up taking the steps, putting it into the ring. Lashley and McIntyre try to beat more down on Strowman. Strowman ends up choking McIntyre and Lashley, because looked like that Strowman was going to choke slam McIntyre and Lashley together, do a double choke slam. But Corbin ends up hitting Strowman in the back with the chair. And so they set up a table in the ring. And you see McIntyre ends up hitting Strowman with the Claymore kick. And then McIntyre and Corbin, they set up another table, and they put it on top of the other table. And all three of them, they end up hitting a triple power bomb, just like the Shield. So they hit a triple power bomb to Strowman. Strowman went through both tables, and then right from there, Corbin ends up going for the pin, and so Corbin ends up winning the match. Okay, like who gives a shit? I didn't give a shit. So Baron Corbin ends up winning the match with help from Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. So I wonder if this is going to be a new faction now for the three of them. Let's see what WWE calls them as a faction. Hopefully it's nothing stupid. And then we saw The Miz. He ended up apologizing to Shane backstage, because Shane was getting help from one of the WWE doctors. And Shane tells Miz that it's okay, because The Miz was pretty sad that they lost the match and lost the titles. And Miz ends up screaming, saying that he made promises. And Shane tells him to go home and see him on Tuesday. That was basically what happened. And then after that, this was just totally random. Lacey Evans ended up coming out, just walking out there, showing off, and then she goes to the back. Okay. So random. It was just random. It was like a blink and a miss. Lacey Evans comes out, and then, you got to do something, like, go to the bathroom or something, and she's gone already. That's how it was. I'm like, when I saw that, I'm like, okay. Sorry about that again. Keep getting interrupted, but I was saying, Lacey Evans, that whole thing was just random. And then we had the main event, which was the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. And, it was Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston versus AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. And Kofi Kingston was the replacement for Mustafa Ali, because this was supposed to be Mustafa Ali in the match, but he ended up getting injured. And so before the match started, we had Daniel Bryan and Rowan come out. Daniel Bryan's on the mic, and he says, he asks, if we know what happens when he and Rowan try to enlighten the masses. And he says that they get punished. He goes on to say that WWE management has made the WWE Universe the authority. And he goes, oh, what happens now? He says he comes out, and he's first in the Elimination Chamber, which he says, fickle. First in the gauntlet match, he says, fickle. And so the referees come down, and they send Rowan to the back, and Daniel Bryan was like, oh no, he was not having it. And so Rowan ends up going to the back. Daniel Bryan gets back on the mic and says he doesn't want us to call him a martyr. He says he's suffering, as the people repeat a stupid phrase because the crowd was chanting, what? And he says it gives him hope because he knows the planet needs him. And there's still hope that he'll raise his beautiful championship and still be the WWE champion. And so he enters. Sorry about that, but he enters Daniel Bryan, and then Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe start off the match, and it was good. Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe in it. Thought the action between them here was decent, and all this men's Elimination Chamber match, it was decent at the beginning, but then it got really good in the end. Excellent performance, which I'll get to. So Kofi Kingston was the first to get out of his pod. And then you had AJ Styles entered next. And Samoa Joe ended up getting eliminated by AJ Styles, because AJ Styles ended up pinning the phenomenal forearm to Joe. Really sucks about Joe. I think Joe should have been in this match longer and should have not been the first one eliminated. It's like WWE is not giving, is not doing Joe right. I mean, this guy, he's never going to win it. He's never going to win a title in WWE. I hope it changes, or I hope when Joe's WWE contract is up, he could possibly go to AEW. So, but Samoa Joe shouldn't have been the first one eliminated. Then after Joe got eliminated, Jeff Hardy then entered the match. Then Jeff Hardy, he did his stuff. He did the Swanton bomb from the top. And then Daniel Bryan just ended up coming at Jeff Hardy with the flying knee. Daniel Bryan pins Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy ends up getting eliminated. AJ Styles ends up getting eliminated because Randy Orton was the next to come out. Randy Orton was the last. And AJ Styles ended up getting eliminated by Randy Orton. Because Randy Orton ended up hitting the RKO to Styles. So that was that. And then it was down to Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, and Daniel Bryan. And there was at one point in the match where Daniel Bryan was trying to, not participate in the match, wanted nothing to do with it, so he climbed up and was on the top of the pod. And Randy Orton ended up getting eliminated by Kofi Kingston because Kofi ended up hitting the Trouble in Paradise to Orton. So Orton was eliminated. And then it came down to Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston. And man, what a performance. What a performance from Kofi Kingston. The crowd really erupted and was really behind Kofi during this part of the match. Just Daniel Bryan and Kofi, it was great wrestling from the both of them. It was amazing. And to be thinking that this could have been Mustafa Ali. But oh no, you had a point where it looked like that they were trying to suplex, like Kofi was trying to suplex Daniel Bryan from the top of the pod because Daniel Bryan was on top of the pod, and Kofi and Daniel Bryan were exchanging hands, were exchanging fists, just hitting each other. You had Kofi Kingston shove Daniel Bryan off of the pod. Daniel Bryan landed back in the ring, and Kofi looked like he was going for move off of the top of the pod. Daniel Bryan ended up missing, ended up rolling out of the way, and Kofi ended up getting nothing. And so Daniel Bryan then hits the knee to Kofi. And so the flying knee to Kofi. And Daniel Bryan pins Kofi. Daniel Bryan wins the Elimination Chamber. Ends up retaining the WWE Championship. And right from there, when I think it was Styles ended up getting eliminated, and then Orton, I knew that Daniel Bryan was going to retain the title. But man, Kofi, what a great performance he put in this match. He was awesome. It was very entertaining, and that was when the match got good. When it was down to Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston. Even though the beginning of the match, like I said, it was decent, but then with Daniel Bryan and Kofi, it was good. It got good. This was one of the best chamber matches in a while, in my opinion. Just by how entertaining it was, and seeing Daniel Bryan and Kofi go at it, and Kofi delivering a good performance here in this match. Then you had at the end of the match, you had Big E and Xavier come in. They were there supporting Kofi. That was a good moment. That was a good moment. Because a lot of the crowd was chanting Kofi. So, but it was good, and that's how the pay-per-view ended. So yeah, so overall, like I said, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, I thought it was decent, in my opinion. So that's it for my review of the Elimination Chamber, and thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review, and definitely give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And I will see you all back here tomorrow night for the Monday Night Raw review. So until then, I'll see you all back here tomorrow night.